Knapper, and I will be giving you all an informative speech on Alzheimer's. According to the Alzheimer's Associations, every 66 seconds someone is diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's is the most common type of dementia. Having more information on diagnosis, treatment, and the effects on the brain is important information to know because you never would know how Alzheimer's can affect you or how you can help your grandparents or someone older get an early diagnosis. That way they're ahead of the curve. Alzheimer's is an organic, neuropathological psychiatric disease caused by plaques and tangles in aging brains and or an existential condition affecting meaning-bearing networks and social relations. People will be disconnected from the world around them and will also start to have memory loss. At first, Alzheimer's disease typically destroys the neurons and their connections in part of the brain involving memory and also including the intercorneal cortex and the hippocampus, and it later affects areas of the cerebral cortex responsible for language, reasoning, and social behavior. So, this is a protein buildup between nerve cells. This is where the synapses is coming to an effect, and the protein buildup is not allowing your brain to receive the information. So it's like from me to you, there is a lapse in the middle, and this buildup affects your body's ability to process what's going on around you. This is a normal brain on the right, and on the left is an Alzheimer's brain. So the activity and the things that go on in your brain are slowed and also very delayed. So plaque in the brain is an amyloid plaque clumps of beta amyloid. They are clumps of protein that cause disruption. So that's just the lag that's shown on the Alzheimer's disease, where your body isn't allowing everything to process in a fast manner. The nerve cells in the synapses are unable to communicate. Atrophy takes place, and atrophy is where your brain actually starts to shrink, because with your body, if you don't use it, then eventually you will lose what you have. And so this is a normal brain. This is how your brain would look right now. And this is your brain after atrophy. So it shrinks significantly because the cerebrum around your brain that holds all the fluid eventually loses its elasticity and your brain loses its mass. So based on clinical signs of slowly progressive dementia and neuroimaging, based on cerebral atrophy and the correct approximate 80 to 90% of the time, this is what your brain will end up being when you have Alzheimer's. So this is the later part. The credibility goes to Thomas Bird and the Department of Neurology, University of Washington, and Lucia Sosa Garcia at the Institute of Biomedical Research at the University of Veracruz. The diagnosis of dementia is slow rolling because it takes a long time for people to actually be diagnosed, because you have to go through the cognitive factors of not remembering, not always remembering what you did, what you ate, and things of that manner. Dementia is just a syndrome characterized by a group of symptoms that affects the mental cognitive tasks, memory, reasoning, according to Thomas Bird, thereby solidifying the place of Alzheimer's is just one part of the picture. Dementia is a wide spectrum, so you can have Parkinson's, you can have Lewy body, and other sorts of things, but Alzheimer's is just the most common type of dementia that's known towards this part of the day and age. Alzheimer's is characterized by dementia that's typically subtle, poorly recognized failure and memory, often called MCI. It slowly becomes more severe and eventually incapacitated, which means after a while you're no longer able to thrive as a person, and you will become necessary of everyone else around you because you're not able to take care of yourself. Approximately 95% of all dementia is late onset, which means it affects people over the age of 65, and the other 5% are people who are younger than 65. Thomas Bird was also the contributing factor to all the information in this section, and he's also at the University of Washington, Department of Neurology and Medicine. Living with Alzheimer's, your cognitive skills, as I said before, are also impaired, and you will need a lot of assistance. It will become unmanageable. because you can no longer take care of yourself. It's like you kind of go backwards and you roll into a state of being a child and incapable of taking care of yourself. In the year 2014, 93,541 deaths were caused by Alzheimer's, which was the 5th leading cause of death in people over the age of 65. Thomas Bird says the typical duration of the disease is 8 to 10 years, with a range of 1 to 25 years. So people can live with this disease up to 25 years. It's not very common, but it does happen. Disease can be managed, but over time your body will eventually become incapacitated with it and go back. Although there is no cure, according to Dr. Sosa Garcia, she believes to identify the different factors acting in inflammation and in the mechanisms of damage involved that can allow the development of treatment to be a little bit more critical towards the person, and it will make their life have better quality of living, pretty much. Knowing the lineage is important because 56% to 80% of dementia is carried through a trait that is passed on from the parents, grandparents, and etc. The credibility goes to the Alzheimer's and Dementia article set and Lucia Socia Garcia from the Institute of Biomedical Research, the University of Veracruz. That is the overall portion of my speech, but I did also want to show you guys this. This is the comparison of a healthy brain to someone who has moderate Alzheimer's to severe Alzheimer's.
I've never had this problem.
Well, and that's the conclusion of my speech. I thank you guys very much for your time, and hopefully you'll have a wonderful evening.
There you go.